Hey everyone, it's Justine and welcome to another card tutorial. This time we're going to learn how to color a shark using Copic markers and getting that right gray tinge that you need. So I'm going to start off by taking my Misty here and I'm going to be stamping my shark using Memento black ink. The shark image is called Clyde, and it's from So Susie Stamps. So Susie tends to give all her little animal critters a name, and it becomes really well known in her Facebook group and everything. It becomes sort of inside jokes among the fans of So Susie Stamps. So if you're not a fan of the group yet or haven't joined the page on Facebook, you might want to join because there's lots of really inspirational artwork from So Susie, and I'll link to that below in the video description. So I'm going to ink that up using, once again, Memento ink, because I'm going to be coloring with Copic markers, and I'm just going to stamp this scrap piece of paper and then get coloring on my Copic using my Copic markers. I'm going to speed up things here on the video while I'm coloring and sort of explain what I am doing. So I'm going to be using the C1, C3, C5, C7 markers to be doing the shark. Now there's several different gray tones from Copic and they all do different things. I don't have them all, so I decided to stick to the C colors, which are the cool gray family blend. So I colored him all in C1 and then I went in with C3 and colored him entirely once again. So now my paper is nice and saturated. I'm going in right now with the darkest color, which is C7, and doing the shadows. Now, I kind of thought, okay, he's underwater, so if he's just slightly under the surface, any sort of light that is being directed on the shark is going to be on the top of his body. So that was kind of my guide there for lighting. And I just made sure that all the shadows were sort of towards the bottom of the image. Now I'm just going in with C3 to blend that out again, and then going in with C7 to just darken up those scales. I'm going to go in with my colorless blender and try and fix up those areas where my ink bled. I did have the ink was quite saturated at this point because I colored over the image several times, and so that does happen. But I'm going to take a white gel pen afterwards and then just touch up those areas. So that's the end of the Copic coloring tutorial. I hope you were able to kind of go along with that. I'm just going to grab my white gel pen and do his eyeball a little bit there because I had colored over it in the gray marker, and then I'm also going to go in and color his belly because it also had some gray marker left over there from the colorless blender, and I just really wanted that to be a pure sharp white. And that worked out really, really well, actually. I was surprised at how well the coverage went, and I'm using a Uniball Sigma, I believe it's called, white gel pen. So now moving on to the actual card base, and I'm just going to go in and score my card base at 5.5 inches. My card base measures 11 by 4.25 inches, and I'm just putting in a score line here in the middle so it's easier to fold. If you fold without a score line, usually what happens is you get a really awful crease at the top of your card. It might be difficult to fold it as well because of the thickness of the paper. So you can go along with the back of your scissors, or you can purchase a bone folder and you're able to then easily fold your card base. Next up, I'm going to grab the Simon Says Stamp Stitched Rectangle die. Now, I was a little unsure if I wanted to use the largest die or the second largest die. I ended up settling on the second largest die because the largest would have taken up too much of the card. And I'm going to die cut that using my Cuttlebug. Now, you have to make sure when using your Cuttlebug that you open up your card again, or else it's going to cut a circle straight through your cardstock, even through the actual inside of the card. So just make sure that you reopen up your card when you do this. And I'm just attaching some stenciling tape in order to keep the die in place. So making my sandwich of dies here, I have my A plate, my B plate, my paper, my die, and then my C plate. And I'm going to be shoving that through my Cuttlebug here. And it didn't actually cut all the way through, which is really strange, because usually my Simon Says Stamp nesting dies cut through. For whatever reason, it didn't, and I just had to throw it through the machine once again in order to give it a more sharp cut. So you can see that top flap there didn't cut all the way through. But anyway, we got it working. And I grabbed a piece of cardstock from Create a Smile Stamps, and I just glued that onto the back. I wasn't really paying attention, and I actually should have glued it the opposite way because then it would have looked like water or waves like my original plan intended. But of course I wasn't paying attention, and that's what happened. Now at this point I decided to attach my card using 3D foam tape. Now I wouldn't attach him just yet. I was lucky that I used removable, or the adhesive isn't permanent right away and I didn't push too hard on it because I ended up having to move it around in order to make the sentiment fit onto the card. Now the sentiment I'm using today says have guts enough to swim with the sharks, which is super cute. I think this card is perfect for boys masculine cards and girls that love sharks. My sister's a massive shark fan, and I really love sharks in that sense. So I like to make these kind of cards. And I'm just going to put a dot on the front of the panel that I just cut out because I'm going to be making a banner. So just cutting from the corner to the dot that I had put in the center of the card, I'm going to make a banner here freehand. They're not hard to do as long as you stick your pencil mark in the middle and directly in the middle of the piece that you want to cut. Then you'll get a perfect cut every time, for the most part anyway. I'm just going to erase my pencil mark, and I'm going to stick that onto my card as well as the shark here. I wanted to have the shark sort of holding the sentiment, so I placed the banner sort of in between his fins, if that makes sense. So he has two fins there at the front, and I decided that it would be really cute if I had him sort of holding it. It's one of those details that people would probably miss when looking at the card, but I think it gives it just a little extra adorableness. So I'm just going to stick that down now that I have my permanent area that I want it to stick to, as well as the shark in the area that I want it. And as you can see, I put that fin there behind the banner. And then I just sort of pulled up his other fins here to give it sort of a more 3D look. So that probably won't last if you throw it in an envelope, but if you're giving it to someone, it would last, obviously. So that's the end of today's card tutorial on Copic coloring a shark. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in going shopping and getting any of the supplies seen in this video, please use the links below in the video description or on my blog. You can click at the top there also to visit my blog and the supply list. You can click over on the right to subscribe to my channel, or you can click on the moving video there to check out my last video from Sew Susie Stamps. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. See you tomorrow.